Ciao, Sam.
Ciao, Gaia. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. Welcome to State of the Art, Stories for Learning. Today we have Sam Falzone, who's a freelance industrial designer working for the fashion industry. Today we're going to be focusing on footwear design from conception to consumer, and we have Sam guiding us through this journey. Sam, can I ask you to please introduce yourself and the brands you worked for?
Of course. So I am a recent industrial design graduate with a minor in fashion, and I have been working in the footwear industry and the design world for the last 2 years, working for brands known as Franco Sarto, Vince, and Zodiac. These are footwear brands. And so a little background about me is my approach to design is I want to create things that resonate with cultures and that it provokes like a real interest in people. I don't care for product that just sits there and we don't recognize it. I really like those eye-catching pieces we fall in love with. But a little bit about footwear and how it goes from idea to the shelves in the store.
That was my second question, in fact.
Go ahead.
That was going to be my second question, to describe the development of the shoe from the initial design concept to the actual selling floor.
Yes. So the way you put it sounds very simple, but in reality, there's a lot of steps in between. It all starts with, really identifying your market and who you're selling to. That's really important because if you're creating a product, you have to be responsible for it, and there needs to be someone there to buy it.
That's true.
And once you identify this consumer, you get to know them. And an important thing as a designer is you're not always designing for yourself. So you need to consider other people and learn about other people. But once you have a firm grasp on that, then there's a lot of just research that needs to be done, whether it's from various online resources to visiting trade shows, Lina Pelle in Italy, or they come to New York City as well, just feeling new textiles, seeing the new technologies, and knowing what is possible and what can be done, because there's always innovative changes happening. And once you have all these things in your arsenal, you can sit down and you can sketch your brilliant ideas and run them through corporate, or if you're a smaller company and you have more control, you just make your own decisions. But when you work with retailers, they're looking to fill positions in the market. And for footwear, it's really intriguing how many different positions there are to fill, from casual footwear to work footwear to lounge footwear, athleisure, sport. Like sporty footwear is huge right now, especially with everyone working from home. The heel and the dress shoe has declined, and these athletic sneakers are going crazy. So you always have to adapt as well. There's always changes in the market, and we're seeing that today more than ever. But yeah, once it gets on the sales floor, it's great. It's important to have, before we get to the sales floor, it's important to build a relationship with your manufacturer as well, because someone has to make the product. And once you build a relationship with a manufacturer, we had compared it to like dating. And your first date with the manufacturer could be like the first product that you two make together. And then the second product will always be that much better. And then the relationship you build for years to come will really stand the test of time, make or break.
So you would say that footwear design is not only about having a creative idea or observing the market, but it's also about developing relationship with those that make it possible.
It's all about relationship and collaboration and working with others. If you're a student, you know that everything you do is very personal, and you might be very obsessive and keep to yourself. But as soon as you leave that world and graduate, you really have to learn to be open, open yourself to others, pull like know your strengths and know other people's strengths, and let that work in harmony. And this is throughout the industry, whether you're working with the sales team, the manufacturer, the retailer. It's really important that you don't undermine anyone's talent and their responsibility, because everyone has to meet certain requirements, and everyone has to, in a way, make room for each other.
Mm.
It's not a fun world where you're, alone.
I agree. When I met Sam, he was studying abroad in Florence, and he was taking very hands-on manufacturing courses. So he was learning to manufacture shoes from A to Z, as well as handbags. And he's been with us for a year. And I remember Sam spending hours and hours in the labs alone, and sometimes coming out there and say, "Hey, what do you think of this? Well, I need to exchange, you know." And I remember those chats and brainstormings with you as some of the most beautiful memories um, of my previous job. So I can see how collaborations actually gives birth to other empowered ideas somehow.
Yeah, that's thank you so much. I appreciate that. But that's so true. From my experience, it was very in my head, and that's great. A lot of the great things can happen there, but it's really important to share your ideas and be open to criticism and critique. It's really hard for me, but it's very important.
And listen, Sam, how do you think a designer should juggle between creativity and being creative, and on the other side, the market's needs?
So your creativity should never get in front of the market's needs, because you're creating for others, most of the time. Um, and when you're creating for others, they're in control of the success you have, and you should not. You need to respect. You need to give that as much credit as it deserves, because the consumer will make or break you, and they can become cult following and love your product and continue to shop your product and come back, or they could just leave you and they don't need you. You need them. So you want to put your creativity, and you want to hone in on how they'll appreciate it. um, and don't let that, the best thing about problems and meeting a consumer's needs is that's when you get to truly be creative. There's a reason for creativity, a reason maybe you're not familiar with, but that shows you that's a problem to solve, and that's really exciting and fun.
Yeah, creativity, if we compare it with freedom, it needs some sort of containment. So perhaps the market's needs can be looked at as a containment,
Mm-hmm.
a holder where to conjugate your personal creativity. That's a great way to see it.
And also, I think the market and the consumers, on top of being served, they love to see new ideas that they may not even have thought of. And that's going to bring you a lot of respect, putting out new ideas, like giving them what they want and then showing them what the future holds. And then if they buy into that, then you're going in the right direction. And it sounds real easy, but it's a beautiful, fun experience to try to journey with your consumer, with the market. And it's rapidly changing. You think a piece of footwear can't go through that many changes, but it is amazing every time to see all the changes in color, material, finish, silhouette, proportions. It is forever changing. And recycling. It comes back. It always does.
Like Alessandro Michele calls it, the détournement, things that come back in cycles.
Yes. Yes.
Grazie, Sam. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And big hugs to you, Sam. I hope to see you in Italy soon.
I can't wait. I'm counting down the days till we can travel.
We'll wait for you. Grazie a tutti. Ciao, Sam.